Hey guys, my name is Jasmine and today we're going to be making a still life. To get started, you need several sheets of paper, at least 3, random objects from around your house. I have some little ceramic things here, a brush and a book, an eraser, a pencil, a Sharpie, and if you want to make this colorful, also color pencils and or crayons. So, before we get started, a still life is basically an arrangement of objects in a little snapshot of your eye. So like I said before, I have some ceramic things. I'm going to be arranging them how I think they look nice together, how I can see each one separately. So that's what a still life is. Still life can also be described as figurative art, which figurative art is also, like still art, is basically an arrangement of things that are in space. Most of the time, figurative art is seen as people, so when you might look up figurative art, you're going to see a lot of people, maybe some people just kind of sitting there looking at the photo, at the camera. But figurative art and still life kind of go hand in hand. So to get started here, I have my pieces. I'm going to arrange them over here. You don't have to use everything that you might gather, and some things that you can gather. Like I said, some books, some ceramic things, I have a brush. If you have things from like your kitchen, maybe a cup, bowl, plate, whatever you want, but just arrange them all together. I have my stuff over here. And I have the still life. This is my still life right here. I'm gonna draw that. So you can draw with either a pencil, a Sharpie. You can use your color pencils and crayons if you want to use those too. But to get started here, I'm going to do just a really quick sketch up of what I have in front of me. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can draw this how you might normally draw. You can try something different, but we're going to be doing this a couple times, so we're going to be exploring different techniques and things that you could try and make this a little bit more challenging or a little bit more fun. So I'm going to get started with my Sharpie. I have several sheets of paper, so if you do this multiple times, I'll lay my extra sheets on there. And I'm going to get started with a little vase that's up there. You can do this really messy. I'm going to do this one really messy. There's my vase. That's roughly the shape of it. I see that it also has like lines in it. I'm going to try and kind of sketch those lines. I have a little bird down here. Have the book. One useful thing when you're doing still lives is to think about the edge of the still life and the edge of your paper. Like on this one, I started drawing a little bit too low. So adding my brush here since it's in front and I'm already at the bottom of my paper, I'm only going to include the top of the brush. This is the handle. And that's the top of my brush. So that's my still life. And if you want to do a little bit extra by like drawing your shadows, you could do some shadow work. That's still life. Like I said before, you can use different mediums of drawing if you want. I did that one with Sharpie. So I'm going to move on to the next one. And with this one, my challenge for you guys and for myself is to do this with your non-dominant hand. So I'm left-handed, so I usually draw and write everything with my left hand. But with this one, I'm gonna do it with my right hand. I'm gonna still use my Sharpie. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna use my color pencils. I'm gonna use my color pencils. Gonna get the blue out here. And I'm gonna do the same thing. If you wanna rearrange your still life, you can rearrange it. So for this one, do the same thing, but with my non-dominant hand. It might feel a little funny. It's fine. It's not supposed to feel natural. I'm gonna actually start a little bit higher. This is a challenge for you.
I'm gonna jump into the camera.
Bye. So this is my base. Little ceramic thing. There are the lines. Your hand's not going to want to do what your brain is telling it to do. That's what's happening with me right now. Here's the bird. I think I also still started a little bit too low on this sheet, but that's fine. There's its beak. Here's its body. Here's the book. And we have the brush. And if you want to do multiple still lifes, if you need multiple, if you have several objects you want to use, you can switch them out. Like I said before, if you want to rearrange them and make them different each time, you can do that. I'm going to rearrange mine probably after this one. And that is my brush. And you can make this as detailed if you want to do it. I know with these past two, I haven't made them too detailed. But if you want to get things like if you have a brush, if you want to get the handle down, if you want to draw all the wood grain or whatever is small and detailed on your things, you can do that. That is my still life with my non-dominant hand. I don't think it's as good as the one that I did with my dominant hand, but it was a lot more fun to do. So those are my two. I'm going to do one more. And you can do as many as you want. You can use, again, as many objects as you want. You can make them all different each time. I'm going to make mine a little bit more different. I'm going to leave the brush out on this one. And I'm going to use a drawing pencil for this one instead of a Sharpie or color pencil. Another technique that you can use whenever you're working on this is hatching, which I'll kind of show you guys what that is after I get mostly done with this. So here's the base.
Check one more time. Okay. That way we know if it cuts out from this point, we can start with the third drawing.
Okay.
All right, and get it.
So my base, roughly. Here's a little bird. You can also do this in a very gestural sort of way, so it doesn't have to look exactly as like what you're making here. It doesn't have to be exactly as to what it looks like, but as long as you kind of get the feel for what it looks like, I think that's a very good thing. So here's my bird, there's its beak. Here's my bird. This is all very scribbly. These two are a little bit different in terms of style. That's fine. Each object in your entire still life can be different sort of styles. I think that would look pretty cool and different. And now here's my book. You notice that it goes right past my base a little bit, and then it hits the edge of my bird. It's a little bit open. That's my book. So for a technique called cross hatching, it's basically a form of shading. You just draw lines to do your shading. So something along the sides of that, along the lines of that. You can make your lines closer together so it looks more shaded, it looks like there's more shadow. Or you could draw them further apart and less lines so it looks like less shadow. So something like that. That's cross hatching. Some other challenges that you can use whenever you're doing your still life are looking at your still life and then not looking at it and trying to draw it again. You can also do it completely with your eyes closed, just looking at it and then closing your eyes and then drawing it on your paper as best you can. Again, you can do it with your non-dominant hand. So like I'm usually doing things with my left hand. Instead of that, I did it with my right hand. Or you can do it upside down, so drawing it upside down instead of a right side up like how you might normally draw. There are a lot of challenges you can do when you're doing your still life, and I hope that you guys take all those challenges on and find different objects to do it with. And once again, this still life is basically a snapshot of different objects that you've kind of put together, you kind of pieced together, and it's also known as figurative art. But usually figurative art is also what you might see with people, so like in photographs and everything. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys do more challenges like these here, and I will see you next time. Bye.